Well, now to an update on the coronavirus in Maryland. In less than an hour, Governor Hogan is expected to hold a news conference updating the state's roadmap to recovery. For the second week in a row, hospitalizations have continued to decline. And WJZ investigator Mike Hogan is live. He's breaking down the latest numbers and what the governor could be touching on. Mike?
Denise, the hospitalization numbers did look good. However, the positivity rate, the percentage of people testing positive in the state, was up slightly today, just above 7%. Now, when the governor speaks, we could also be hearing from Deputy Health Secretary Fran Phillips and State School Superintendent Dr. Karen Salmon.
We look at 14-day trends and 7-day trends.
Governor Hogan will update Marylanders on stage 2 of the state's recovery plan, as Maryland has now seen 2 straight weeks of declines in hospitalizations. Last week, he urged continuing caution.
The virus is still there, and it's still out there, and until we get a vaccine, we're going to have to be vigilant.
It comes as the Senate president today blasted the lack of available testing, citing long waits at the Sacred Heart of Jesus Church in southeast Baltimore.
There were not enough supplies and not enough PPE. The horrific story that came out this weekend was that 3 members of the Latino community who had been waiting in lines to get tests, who had been turned away from getting tests at Sacred Heart, tragically passed away.
While the governor says the state has significantly ramped up the amount of testing being done, the pastor at Sacred Heart says it's not enough, and the Latino population is especially vulnerable.
Sadly, we've had parishioners who've been in line for hours waiting to be tested, go home untested, and die.
The Senate president also said there are still problems with the state's unemployment system.
That I am just exhausted and furious that we have not seen the amount of progress that is necessary.
Also today, we learned more about an outbreak within the Baltimore Department of Public Works in the East Side Sanitation Facility. Recycling collection has been suspended for at least 3 weeks as DPW grapples with a lack of staff and trying to protect workers.
What we believe happened is that employees may have come in contact with someone within their work group who had the virus, and it spread pretty quickly.
Other things to watch: neighboring Virginia will allow students to return to in-person instruction in schools this fall. Will Maryland? The state school superintendent will be at the governor's press conference. And some restaurants have asked Governor Hogan to relax regulations and allow indoor dining. Now, in Baltimore City, they are still not allowing in-store retail. And earlier this week, we introduced you to Beth Hawks, a Fells Point boutique owner who was keeping her doors open anyway in defiance of the city's restrictions. She told me today she got threatened with a padlock order if she doesn't stop it. Reporting live, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
All right, thank you, Mike. And when that governor's news conference begins, we will, of course, bring that to you live. And as we mentioned, he is expected to update the state's Phase 2 roadmap to recovery. The news conference set for 5 o'clock, and you can see it live right here on WJZ.